Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Paya Allah from the GMS London camp, coming at you with prophecy and news pertaining to this recent terrorist attack that happened on Friday, 29th of November 2019, in the city of London, London Bridge area of London. This is from Sky News. The title reads: London Bridge killer Usman Khan was convicted terrorist recently freed from jail. Alright. So, instantly with a title like that, people are going to think, wait, hold on, why is this terrorist free to roam the streets? And then if this terrorist is free to roam the streets, what other terrorists are presently roaming the streets today and basically are more or less a sleeping threat to the masses in terms of a disguise, like they're not aware of that threat being present. Usman Khan was wearing an electronic tag when he killed a man and woman on London Bridge. Alright? The London Bridge attacker has been named by police as convicted terrorist Usman Khan. The 28-year-old from Staffordshire killed a man and a woman and injured 3 people, including a man and 2 women, during his rampage on Friday afternoon. In February 2012, he was convicted for terrorism offences and released from prison in December 2018 on licence. The Metropolitan Police said he had been ordered to serve at least 8 years in prison over his part in a plot to bomb the London Stock Exchange and build a terrorist training camp on land in Pakistan controlled Kashmir, owned by his family. Judge Mr. Justice Wilkie gave Khan an indeterminate sentence and said he should not be released until he was no longer a threat to the public. And you see, that's the point, that this sentence that they're saying, basically he shouldn't be, the judge said he shouldn't be released until he's no longer a threat to public. But yet he was released, alright? And he was a threat to public. So what does that mean? That means that, what's really being said there, and what's being thought there in the minds of the people is, wait, hold on, this person, why do we release these people anyway? Why don't we just kill them for capital punishment, which is a bit extreme, but more so people might just be thinking, never let them out to see the light of day again, or send them back to their home country, all different kind of things. But the main reason why I mentioned that is because basically this is the elites basically making, through the spirit, whether this was whether this was a planned terrorist attack by the elites, or it was something that was just that just happened, it's still by the hands of the Lord to basically bring forward this prophecy, alright, at the end of this world, alright, ruled under Esau, Edom, who is so-called white man, alright. And basically, the reason why I'm saying that is because point just strayed. I can't remember, man. Damn, it's killing me, man. He was no longer a threat to public. Yeah, to bring the that's the point. But it's funny because on the night before, man, I had that's a little minor actually. I'm not even gonna go into that. But however, this indeterminate sentence was quashed at the Court of Appeal in April 2013. and given a 16-year jail term. Sky's Home Affairs correspondent Mark White has been told by sources that Khan was being monitored with an electronic tag when he was released from jail a year ago and had links to the Islamist terror groups. It is not known whether this could be Islamic State or Al Qaeda. Home Secretary Priti Patel refused to comment on reports, saying it would be inappropriate to confirm any details at this stage. She said the police needed space and time to complete the investigation and that it was not right to speculate. We're supporting the police through this very difficult investigation, she said, adding, I think it's fair to say we are all shocked and saddened. The Prime Minister has called for an end to serious and violent criminals being released early from prison. Speaking before chairing a meeting of government's emergency committee Cobra, Boris Johnson said he had long argued that it was a mistake to allow serious and violent criminals to come out of prison early, and it was very important that we get out of the habit and that we enforce the appropriate sentences for dangerous criminals, especially for terrorists. All right, these are some key words that are being spoken there. They're saying that, they're saying they want to enforce appropriate sentences. Now, what's an appropriate sentence? That's something that we'll find out in the future. All right, but that means that they're basically looking to make leaps and bounds and change the way that they govern, and in handing out sentences to the people. All right, which ultimately will lead to martial law, tyranny. There's another word I'm looking for, man. Martial law. Man, how my brain is not working, is not all the way there, man. But basically, you had given Esau all powers, suspension of habeas corpus, these types of things, which really segues into the chip, all right? Because the chip is really, for those that are at one with the system, for them to be, have a chip put inside of them and basically be at one with it 100%, all right? And it said especially for terrorists. Now that word terrorist as of late has been thrown around loosely. All right. For example, they're putting up like gang members on terrorist charges, people in different fields of crime that really are not really deemed terrorism. They're expanding it into terrorism. Okay, so this basically leads to total control for the elites, the New World Order, all right? Mr. Johnson added that more police would be patrolling the streets in the coming days for reassurance purposes. And it's true. I see that. I ain't seen bobbies on the beat, as they call it over here in the UK. Police patrolling on the streets in a hot minute, man. In a while, all right? Enforced as they was yesterday, all right? That I ain't seen that in a couple years, but that shows you. And the terrorist threat went down, showing you that don't mean nothing. You always have to remember that this shit could pop off at any moment, man. Khan appeared to be wearing a fake suicide vest where he was shot dead at point blank range by police in full view of horrified onlookers. The Met's Assistant Commissioner, Neil Basu, said Khan had been living in Staffordshire and officers were searching his address. In a statement, he said, "We are now in a position to confirm the identity of the suspect. A 20-year-old Usman Khan, who had been residing in the Staffordshire area. As a result, officers are tonight carrying out searches at an address in Staffordshire. This individual was known to authorities having been convicted in 2012 for terrorism offences. He was released from prison in December 2018 on license, and clearly a key line of inquiry now is to establish how he can carry out this attack." Alright, he added, "The investigation into the attack near London Bridge continues at pace. Whilst we are still in the early stages of the investigation. At this time, we are not actively seeking anyone else in relation to the attack. However, we continue to make fast-time inquiries to ensure that no other people were involved in this attack and that there is no outstanding threat to the public. Before this conviction in 2012, Khan had been secretly recorded talking about plans to recruit UK radicals to train at a camp in Kashmir. There's victory, what we hope for, there's shahada, death as martyrs, or there's prison, he had said. The then 20-year-old pleaded guilty to engaging in conduct for the preparation of terrorism, which included travelling to the attended operational meetings, fundraising for terrorist training, preparing to travel abroad and assisting others in travelling abroad. Passing sentence, Mr. Justice Wilkie said Khan and his co-conspirators had planned a serious long-term venture in terrorism that could have resulted in atrocities in the UK. It was envisaged by them all that ultimately they and the other recruits may return to the UK as trained and experienced terrorists available to perform terrorist attacks in this country, and one possibility contemplated in the context of the return of British troops from Afghanistan. Following Friday's attack, police said Khan is understood to have attended a conference on prisoner rehabilitation organised by University of Cambridge Associated Learning Together at Fishmongers Hall earlier in the afternoon. The Times newspaper reported that Khan had threatened to blow up the building. Professor Stephen Toop, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cambridge, said he was devastated that the event organised by its Institute of Criminology may have been targeted in the attack. He added, "We mourn the dead and we hope for a speedy recovery for the injured. Our thoughts with all their families and friends." So you have this terrorist attack that basically happened, and with that happening, man, this is just Esau making leaps and bounds, man. Okay, and keeping the people on edge. Alright, so I'm going to just read the scripture and close it up. So this is Revelations 12:12. Therefore